Well, a group of experts is hoping to dispel some of those fears. They're holding a public meeting in Vancouver on November 5th to discuss the crisis and answer people's questions. Now, I spoke with one of the organizers earlier today. Here's what he had to say. Why is it that this fear factor around Ebola has spiraled the way it has out of control?
It's a great question, because if you actually look at the probability of getting Ebola in North America, for you or I, it's ridiculously low. But what's happening is Ebola manifests not just as a virus, like a physical virus. It's manifesting culturally in our minds, in your mind, in my mind, collectively in our kind of cultural consciousness. Fear is just coming in. Ebola, it's like it almost has the upper hand here, and it's kind of spreading a certain amount of fear around, disproportionate to your chances of actually catching this in North America.
Why is that? Why are people afraid of this?
Well, it's a beautiful nightmare. It's a beautiful nightmare if you think about it. You got people in hazmat suits. You've got all the movies that have built up to make this in our popular culture something that's extremely scary. And then at the end of the day, I don't think any of us really want to die of a hemorrhagic fever, because it's a frightening thing to actually have to die of. But again, statistically,
right,
you know, it's way out of proportion to your likelihood of catching it.
Well, let me push you on that, because, you know, I've read the literature as well as you have, I'm sure, about the possibility of Ebola being airborne or being transmitted through aerosol particles. We've heard from BC nurses who say they are not prepared. I mean, these are the frontline workers who are saying we're not ready for this. So aren't people entirely justified in being terrified?
Well, I think you are, particularly if you're a healthcare worker, because if you're a healthcare worker, you do have a higher statistical chance of encountering it. And if we look at the exponential curve on where the virus is supposed to go by January, etc., then yeah, there are a lot higher chances in the future of you catching that. But again, we have to keep in mind, catching the virus is one thing. The virus manifests anyway inside our culture when you see Wall Street starting to crash, when you see people changing their travel plans, when you see tourism drop in Africa. Those are all the other economic factors in which the Ebola virus actually wins anyway. So if you're in West Africa, you might not have Ebola right now, but you're feeling the effects of the economy crashing, and that may kill you anyway. And that's where we have to start thinking more like global citizens and seeing that Canadians can really make a difference on this one.